All right, good evening, everyone. My apologies. I was running a few minutes late. I apologize. Okay, we are here for our special agenda meeting. Today is Thursday, July 17th, 2025. Um, Call to order our meeting. And Madam Clerk, would you please do the roll call for us?
Mayor Groff,
Here.
Vice Mayor Samara, Commissioner Ansler,
Here.
Commissioner Gonzalez, Commissioner Huntington.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Can we do the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Okay, so our 5 o'clock meeting this evening is for the discussion on the manager's contract. Manager, hi there. I'm not used to. Sorry, I missed you. You're in a different place than usual. Before we get into the presentations, we have our public comments. So we'll go ahead and open public comment at this time. We will start with those here in the log cabin. And just as a reminder to any members of the public that wish to comment, we need your name and address, and public comment is limited to 3 minutes. So we'll go ahead and start here in the log cabin. Doesn't sound it. Clerk is on the way to save the day.
Hello, Melanie Oliva, 590 Northeast, 121st Street. Hi guys. I was reading over the proposed compensation package for Al Childress. I was really, really surprised. I sent you all an email before this to see that it's double of what was advertised for this position. Where is this money coming from? Will our taxes be raised because of this compensation package, which was $347,000 inclusive of benefits? We didn't have money for a pickleball court or pool access, but now we have money somehow for this compensation package. Again, I'm blown away. We don't have money for replacement trees. By the way, where did that $120,000 come from for the replacement trees? As a resident, I still am not aware. I don't think we can afford Al Childress. Please defer this vote so that more residents can be made aware, because I don't think they were aware of this meeting. I did not get a notice about it. It's at 5 o'clock, very inconvenient for people. I still would like to see a hostile work environment investigation happen where the police officers who resigned are actually questioned and where our attorney is questioned. I would like to see a probationary period up to the point of Childress's first review. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, do we know where the interference is coming from? I know you just. Does it help if we turn the mics off? At least for the public comment portion, so we can hear everyone clearly on the record. We'll try. Okay. Any others for public comment here in the log cabin?
My name is Vicky, 528 Northeast.
You can. There you go.
Vicky, 528 Northeast, 121st Street. I have nothing to read. I was actually going on my way to Costco when I got a WhatsApp text with the numbers saying that he's asking for 4 months personal time off. And I almost crashed. I am so frustrated with everything that is been going on in here. Because we've been told that we don't have money, that now we are having to raise the taxes. You know, we are receiving more notifications in code enforcement, which is okay. nothing happened to me because I just finished a house and I keep everything. But we have elderly people, like she mentioned in the past, you know, suffering, being anxious. For what? Because we need money to pay for a manager because in the past we have bad luck with managers, and the reason apparently because they were underpaid. So now they want to bring it in. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I've been living here for 22 years. This is the first time. Actually, I'm here more than doing social life. I'm frustrated. Really, I am. And I feel like you guys are not representing me. And when I talk to people, I have no clue. So on top of that, we are going to pay all of this amount of money. Please pay him a workshop how to use an app in this century because he can't even text. I'm sorry. But I have a background of being a property manager in a condominium in South Beach, and I never see this kind of behavior.
Bob Anderson, 11th place, 11905. I look at what the manager's asking is a negotiation process that the commission needs to do. I don't consider what he's asking for the commission to go ahead and grant everything that he's asking for. So obviously, when you go into negotiations, you always ask for a lot more than you're willing to take. So I don't see anything wrong with what he's asking for. It's up to the commission to decide what will be accepted on both sides. Thank you.
Janie Anderson, 11905 Northeast 11th Place. I don't know how anybody could have the idea that this is double what was advertised. The salary alone was advertised at up to 210. And I don't recall the benefits and everything else being listed in the ad, so that would have upped the title. I'm sorry, upped the total. And as far as what Al is asking for, it's called contract negotiations. It's what you do. You don't come in asking for the bare minimum. You ask for the world and you work back and forth. That's the normal way. Thank you.
Any others here before we switch over? Going once, going twice. Okay. Doesn't look like we have anyone on Zoom. Unless Paul, if you can hear me, he wants to make public comment, but I'm going to guess the answer is no. Okay. So hearing no further for public comment, we will close public comment. We will move on to our next item, which is reply. Is there any specific reply from the commission at this time to the public comments before we move into the presentations?
Can you verify, Pamela, about the notice that was made aware for us, saying there was no notice done?
It was noticed. It's been on the website the day after.
Okay,
We made the meeting. It was sent out on the app twice.
email blast?
The email, you went through the email blast on the app.
Okay.
It was done twice.
And so, because this was noted as a special commission meeting, it does not longer require 7 days notice?
Correct.
It's a 24 hours?
It's within 24 hours.
So that's a change that we did in the procedures last time. To your point, I mean, it's so good. That's what we did. Just addressing the comments that came about notice. So on the procedures before, it was that every meeting was 7 days before. There was a contradiction as how the procedures were written. The recommendation was that we would make this adjustment, something for us to visit in the future. To your point, Vicky, yes, 24-hour notice obviously doesn't, that's why we don't have any on Zoom, et cetera. But Just making sure that we did at least send it all throughout.
Hearing none? Okay. Here. Muted.
My comment.
Okay. All right. So, hearing no other reply at this time, let's go on to our presentation section. Before we move into the presentation, as I believe, Mr. Childress, your attorney is here to make a presentation. Okay. Mr. Attorney, did you want to kind of just update us on where we are, where we left off at this point that gets us to this meeting, please?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So essentially what you have before you is for discussion or presentation about the manager's agreement. Just so you all have a timeline, I know you had all tasked me with, to some extent, negotiating the terms and conditions of the agreement with the manager or manager's counsel, Ms. Sigmund. Pronounce that right, did I not? Yes, okay. And essentially, from a timeline perspective, Ms. Sigmund and I had a brief conversation about how we were going to go forward with this process in the beginning of July. I believe it was in the beginning of July or late June. And then what happened is on July 7th, I received from Ms. Sigmund a copy of a draft agreement from the manager. On the morning of the 8th or the afternoon of the 8th, I provided Ms. Sigmund with a track change and underlined strike through of proposed changes to the draft agreement that she provided. We had our commission meeting on the 8th. You all set this special hearing meeting that we're here today. I'm trying to do this from the top of my head. Unfortunately, I was out of town on Friday through Monday, didn't come back to work until this Tuesday. Ms. Sigmund and I had a brief conversation about the agreements and about my proposed changes. She implemented some of the changes, which you have before you. And then some of them, I guess the only way they were rejected or they were not changed. So what you have before you today is the agreement that was drafted by Ms. Sigmund, who is Mr. Childress's counsel, which is titled the Red Line Manager's Employment Agreement, Childress, redlined by Attorney Sigmund. That incorporated some of the changes that I had requested from the original agreement. You have the original track changes agreement that I provided to Ms. Sigmund back on July 7th. As far as at this point, Ms. Sigmund's going to make a presentation on behalf of Mr. Childress. Obviously, Mr. Childress can speak on his own behalf if he so chooses. And then you will engage in discussions about the terms and conditions. There is no formal resolution that's before you to approve the agreement. However, if you all come to terms in discussing this agreement with Mr. Childress and Ms. Sigmund, then you can put to vote an agreement tonight. All it takes is a motion, a second, and then a vote. And then a resolution will be forthcoming to memorialize your vote. But essentially, right now, the negotiations, there's no further negotiations between myself and Ms. Sigmund at this point. And you're now going to listen to the presentation. You can ask whatever questions you deem is appropriate, make any comments about what they're proposing, come back with counter proposals as a consensus, but they have to be done by a consensus of the commission. And based on your all direction, we'll govern ourselves accordingly. So back to the drawing board or approving a version of an agreement.
Okay. All right. All right, Brad, thank you. I'm sorry. Say your name for me one more time. Sigmund, Ms. Sigmund. Okay, great. Thank you. So Ms. Sigmund, I understand it. And based on the manager's discussions with me, you were going to give us a brief kind of introduction presentation. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay, well, the floor is yours then.
thank you. So my name is Patricia Sigmund. I came down on the Bright Line today from Orlando. Highly recommend. It's a big improvement to the way I used to drive down here all the time. I've been an employment labor lawyer for 30 some odd years representing employees and many different city managers over time. So I've had the chance to go to many towns and cities across this great state. And this has to be the coolest building I've presented in. So really amazing. I've had a good time just getting a chance to see your town. It really is a special place. But it's been a real honor to get to know and to represent Al Childress. We actually met at the Florida City and County Managers Association conference. Al has been a member for 10 years. He was recognized with a 10-year award when I was there at the conference. He's a true city manager, consummate professional. I do believe this town has not, this village has not, in the past ever had a professional, experienced village manager. You have had people with other experience, but not with town management, city management experience, with the credential from the ICMA, from the FCCMA. And not only does Al bring that to the table, that experience, but he brings a master's in public administration from the FIU, which is the degree that your advertisement said was the preferred credential. In addition to his master's in public administration from FIU, he has a master's in business administration from the University of Miami. And, he's got lots of prior experience in city administration, and he was city manager, assistant city manager, and then city manager in Doral and in Key West. He comes with all of the credentials to take this village and help it achieve its goals. And those goals don't get achieved without the kind of experience and background and skills and hard work that Al has put in all this time. And, Al has been a resident here and a homeowner here for about 40 years. He loves this village. Not only does he love this village, his family loves this village. His wife was a commissioner and the mayor back in the days before you had village managers, when you had strong mayor form of government. His boys were both Eagle Scouts who did their Eagle Project here at the village. This is a person who takes great pride and joy in his home here, who puts his heart into this community. And that is a thing you can't get by just bringing somebody from outside and dropping them in here and showing them your beautiful town. He understands the challenges. He's here. He's the taxpayer. He's your neighbor. So I think that all of that is really important to understand, because he's uniquely qualified to meet the challenges that the village described in its brochure. And all of you love this village, I'm sure, and you want what's best for it. That's why you're taking time out of your lives to come here and do this and listen to me talk and do all of this hard work. All of you and Al have that in common. You all want what's best for the village. You all care. And he's in a position to help you get there. So, the village manager is a big job. 7 departments, there's no deputy manager here. A lot of the resources that my city manager clients have in other jurisdictions, he doesn't have that kind of help and support here. It's wear a lot of hats, jack of all trades, do a lot of things every day. It's a hard job, but that's okay. That's what Al has signed up for. But he has his heart in it in a way that somebody from outside wouldn't, because this is his home, just like it's your home. And you can't undervalue that. Now, let's talk about the salary. But before I do that, I want to say contract negotiations with current employees is always awkward. It's awkward. It's awkward for you. It's awkward for him. You're talking about how much people make and what benefits they're going to get. It's awkward, but it's important, because city managers put themselves right into the middle of the fire. Everything that's going on in the town, they're the one on deck for all of it. And so they have to love it, and they have to want to be, immersed in it. But it is no small job. It is a big job, and it is a job that is, it is full of potential political perils. And so city and county and town managers across this state and across this country need contracts, and they have to have contracts, and they have to have good contracts to protect them. Because the reality is that you all can terminate Al Childress anytime you want. Anytime this commission meets and there's a majority vote to send him home and take his job is gone. He doesn't have job security. So what he has is a contract that provides him a process and severance in the event of that occurring. But in order to allow a city manager to just throw themselves 100% into this difficult job with all of the competing interests and constituencies and everything that they have to deal with, they need a good contract that they can know is done, put it in a drawer, and hopefully nobody even has to look at it again because everything's going well. In the event that things don't go well, then the contract comes out of the drawer, right? And so, yes, the city manager needs a good contract to protect him. And all city managers and county managers do. And that's part of why they bring me out to speak at their conference, because this is a common interest for all of them. It's a unique and difficult job. So right now, to take a $210,000 salary, Al will be taking a pay cut of $26,000 to $28,000 a year compared to the prior 2 city manager jobs he held. And so those jobs paid more. Why is Al willing to work for 210 salary instead of the 26 to 28,000 more per year that he was getting at prior jobs? Because this is his home and he loves it. It's a unique opportunity. Like, you know, the universe got all the stars aligned, and here it is that you happen to have this very uniquely qualified city manager ready to take this role. He lives in this town. He's been here for 40 years. It's a perfect opportunity for this town, for this village to be able to accomplish its goals. So if you look at the advertisement, which I spent a lot of time looking at, it was very well written. Whoever did this put a lot of time into it. The advertisement goes into all of the things about what's special about the village. And it clearly was written to try to kind of entice somebody who doesn't know the village to come and maybe move here, to work here, or come and see how beautiful it is. But in the advertisement, the salary range is 150 to 210. And like I said, the top of that range, 210, is $26,000 to $28,000 a year less than what Al has been making in his prior 2 city manager jobs. And it's also less in that range, and even much less than the average and median of some of the neighboring municipalities that are comparable population and type. So we can talk specifically about those numbers, but the job requisite, the advertisement for this job was put out stating that the salary would be up to $210,000. And if you've got this kind of a highly qualified city manager with 10 years of experience, ICMA, CCMA, he's got the MPA, he's got the MBA, he's got the experience, who in the world would be qualified for the 200? And he lives here and loves it here and staying here. Who would be qualified to receive the top salary, that 210 that was advertised, if it's not Al Childress? So in addition, the advertisement says that the salary in that range will depend on qualifications and experience. So qualifications I've covered, and experience, Al has it. Under the advertisement, he meets the definition to get the top of the range, which is why 210 is the number that the commission needs to agree to pay in order to employ this very accomplished professional. In addition, the advertisement says, after it says benefit, it says the salary, then it says benefits are excellent. Doesn't say what they are, but it does describe them as excellent benefits. And then it says that they'll be the the FRS. So excellent benefits and $210,000 a year in salary is what was advertised for. It is therefore what we are here asking the commission to approve, because that is what it takes to get a manager of this caliber. And in reality, if Al wasn't a resident here, then this salary would be too low for him to consider. So based upon his experience, nobody ever wants to take a step backwards in their career path. But this wouldn't be a backward step for Al. This would be a step in a great direction to be able to really put his heart and soul into helping his own village achieve all of its hopes and dreams. So now when we come to the village already decided that 210,000 was doable because it's in the ad. And that 210 plus excellent benefits was doable. Commission already decided that because it's in the ad. So what else is in the ad? Besides also wanting somebody with the MPA, which is what Mr. Childress has. The other thing that I thought was very interesting is that it talked in terms of, some of the more complex challenges that the town faces, that the village faces. It says the village's biggest concern is how to provide necessary services with very limited growth while preserving the special place that Biscayne Park has become. And that is the challenge, right? That's exactly what Al is here to do. In fact, he's already been doing that. There are things that he's already done with the budget to find savings, to find waste. In order to do what the village's biggest challenge is, which is to provide necessary services with limited growth and to preserve the special place Biscayne Park has become, you need a manager who really has the experience and knowledge and skills and training to figure out the details of the budget, to understand what's possible, to think about, well, what have we done in the other cities where I was, and what can we adopt here? And go to the international, the ICMA and the FCMA conferences and look, and because when he's there, he's talking with all of the other managers in all the other towns and listening to presentations and finding out what ideas do they have? What are people doing for cost savings? What are people doing to maximize their productivity of their staff? These are things that he has learned by going to the trainings and doing this. He was even, when he was at Doral, he was even sent to Harvard for a special training program for executive management. This isn't just Al Childress showing up and saying, I can do this. This is Al Childress showing up after a long and distinguished career in public service and coming forward to say, I can accomplish this. It was very fortunate that he happened to be available when the village needed him. It is an important thing in my view and in the experience of what I have seen at other towns. When you bring in a manager that's got all the credentials and all the training, and you give them the opportunity to go do what they know how to do, how to work with the budget. When you do all of those things, it works. And so I think that I say all of this so that everyone has the understanding and perspective of, if you want a true professional manager at the helm, which apparently you do because you picked Al, right? You took a vote and said, we want him to be our village manager. Then the package you advertised, salary of 210 and excellent benefits, makes perfect sense. And it's nothing new. This is just the same territory that was already decided and advertised. We're just executing what's already been advertised and already been decided was available. And Al is able to find savings and he is able to do better things with the budget. And that's why somebody like him pays for themselves over time, because they make things happen. So additionally, I wanted to talk a little bit about the documents that you have. So yes, I sent a contract to Brad after we talked. I think we talked for about an hour maybe on the first time. Went through a list of the things that we needed and wanted, got some of Brad's feedback on those things. And then I drafted the contract and sent it to Brad. Is it okay? I'm sorry. Thank you. Feel free to call me Patricia. So I sent it to Brad. Brad did redline it and sent it back to me. I went through it, and the things that seemed to be legal issues that Brad had raised, references to statutes, certain various provisions, that had anything to do with legal issue or something that I thought didn't really, didn't prejudice my client, but that would help make the contract more comfortable for Brad from a legal standpoint. We put those things in there. So when you see the red line of my contract, what you're seeing is the things I put in to incorporate the concepts of the things that Brad had raised. But there were other things that Brad wanted changed that Patricia didn't agree to and Al didn't agree to, since we're all using first names here. You know, because those are terms and conditions. Those are those excellent benefits. Those are the protections that a good manager needs in order to just put that contract in the drawer, forget all about it, and go out and just do the job every day. So, we have already addressed what we think needed to be addressed. And we're asking you to approve the contract that I presented on behalf of Al, and to approve it tonight and get this past everyone so it can be done and everyone can move on with the other business of the village, and Al can focus 100% of his attention on village business and not have to spend any time talking to me. So I'm happy now to take any questions that any of you may have.
So Patricia, you said, right? Is that all right if I
Yes,
call you
please.
Patricia? Okay, great. So Patricia, I thank you for being here with us this evening. Thank you for the presentation, providing the information, the background. It's helpful for us. So obviously we all need to discuss what's been put before us. This is the first time we've had the opportunity to do so, as a commission, should I say. Can I just ask you, just kind of based on how you concluded your presentation there, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, Mr. Manager, or your mouth, but is what you're, I guess, representing to us is that the only version of the contract that we're willing to accept on behalf of the manager this evening is the version that's in front of us?
Yes, with one exception.
Okay.
And that is that if the commission is concerned about the total PTO that could potentially be paid out at the end of employment, Al is prepared to cut that to 500 hours instead of 1,000. Now, let me point out though, as you guys have a copy, one of the commissioners kindly asked for Al today to send him information on his prior packages, what he had when he was at Doral
Key
and
West.
right.
Right.
And if you look at that I already mentioned the salary, but for example, Doral had no cap on the payout. So and this is just so the commission can understand. I mean, other towns and cities are doing this with no cap at all. And we're saying we think that 1,000 hours is very fair and consistent with other towns. But because Al cares a lot about this village, the thing he's willing to do is cut it to 500. So it wouldn't affect his accruals during his employment if, you know, but it would be capped when he gets a payout if he's separated at 500 hours instead of 1,000. It's okay that I say that, right, Al? But then if you look at, so Doral had no cap and Key West had a cap of 960 hours. So 500 hours is much less than the cap that they had at Key West as well. And those are on your pieces there. So did that answer your question?
It did. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you very much. So I think at this point, it really becomes more of a discussion by and between and amongst the parties here in the commission, because I, of course, want all of our commissioners to have an opportunity to kind of voice their opinion on what's been in front of us, because, again, no one's had the opportunity to in this group before today. So I think that's probably the best way to start, is to just kind of have the commission kind of provide their feedback for you and for you, Al. And I don't really have any specific place where I would recommend we start. So if anyone would like to kind of give their feedback on where we stand with the contract, I'm certainly open to hearing that.
I like to just go through the whole contract, so each section.
Well, is that something that the commission wants to do? Do we want to go through kind of section by section here?
I mean, if that's the will of the commission, I would rather raise points that people want to talk about rather than go through each individual section. But
So let me point of clarification on that. Go through it, and as the issues come up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine organized. You can name the section. If there's no issues, we
No.
move on.
Okay.
Can I tell my 3 points? Because the areas that maybe that would help.
You just have 3 points?
Well, it's the term of the contract,
Okay.
the payout, and of course, the salary.
So you're saying term, salary, and severance.
Yeah, because, you know, the payout and the payouts. Just, I have concern about the payouts because we do still have hostile complaints out there. And
Let me do this then, Patricia, and Al, this is for you too, obviously. It sounds like some people want to point some things out. Is this something that you're willing to listen to?
Yes, and I can, on the term, if you want, I can respond on that real quick, so it's addressed.
Sure.
And that is, you know, it says it's a 5-year term. It's really not a 5-year employment agreement. It's an agreement that lasts for 5 years, but this commission can terminate Al anytime it wants to by a vote. So what having the 5-year term does is it makes it so that you don't have to come back here in a year or 2 years to like renew the same agreement, but you can terminate it anytime you want. So it just takes it out of the rotation of things you have to attend to for the next 5 years. And like I said, everything goes smoothly. Nobody even pulls it out, but it really isn't a 5-year contract from that standpoint. Really, the reason that's in there is because Al wanted to show the commission his commitment to be here. So it wasn't really put in, it doesn't protect him because he's still he can still be terminated at your will, but it shows you his commitment that he wanted you to understand, he's here to try to like stay and make this work.
Well, the problem I have with that, he can be fired at any time, is he has to be fired with cause. If he's fired with cause, then we don't pay him. But if he's not fired with, he get the payout, it's going to be the big thing. And that's my big concern is the payout. The year, okay, I have no problem with the 5 years, but it's the payout. The payouts that he's had at the last 2 places that he's worked, I have major concerns for that.
I think that's probably a little bit further down. So we've heard, Patricia, and I don't want to keep doing this, Al. So I don't, if Patricia's speaking on your behalf, I can just kind of, I don't want to keep bouncing back and forth,
So- You
obviously.
You want trade? Okay, we're good.
Let me
Go ahead, or.
let me just say that I'm a little disappointed, honestly, that we got this 2 days ago. I haven't really had, I did go over it. I really haven't had time to really break it down and dissect it. Unfortunately, I have a real job and, where I get paid actually. So, I wish we would have had this earlier, because I'm going to talk about some things today, but I'm really talking kind of blindly because I haven't really had time to look at, do comparisons. That's kind of the way I look at things and the way I think. And yes, I know that Al came from Doral and Al came from Key West and all that stuff. Obviously, those are much bigger cities with much bigger budgets and whatnot. And so, it's a little difficult to compare apples to oranges, right? So, I think, in my humble opinion, there's really not a lot of different things in here, a lot of different topics. I think if we run through them, we either agree, we don't agree, we come up with suggestions on certain things, whatever we disagree on, and then we can move forward. That's the way I would do it, but I'm open to, however you guys want to do it.
I think we're kind of saying the same thing. I think the idea is for the commission to look at these, and if there are issues that any one individual commissioner has with anything that's included in the agreement, to voice it at that time and make a suggestion like Art has said. So I think that makes sense. Okay. Okay. All right, cool. All right, so we've talked about term. Is there anyone else that wanted to kind of voice any opinion on term? We've heard from Commissioner, Vice Mayor. We've heard Patricia's response.
For me, term at 5 years, I think is appropriate, and I think it shows Al's commitment, and as his council represented very well, that we can terminate this contract at any time with 30 days notice. So that just shows his commitment to this village. I'm fine with 5 years.
Art,
Fine with 5 years as well.
Commissioner Amser?
It's not the decisive matter to me, so I don't focus on the 5-year. I think that's.
Okay, well, it sounds like I don't really have much of an issue because I understand the at-will nature of the employment too. So I don't really think that the term,
Now that
Isn't
you
much of an issue.
explained it, that's,
okay. How about section 2, employment duties and authority? Is there anything specific there that any one of the commissioners would like to raise? I personally don't really have anything there.
Which one? I'm sorry.
Section 2.
Well, can I ask, so on this section, there were, Brad, you had back and forth with the attorney, as you stated at the beginning. What were the recommendations? Because the way you come to this, I mean, I understand you represent Al in this case. We have our attorney representing us. So he came to you with certain points that he saw that were needed to discuss in terms of negotiation. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I just try and understand what those points were, because what our attorney is doing is taking the village's history to analyze where we stand in the past in similar contracts, and based on that come back to you. And I understand that's sort of the dance that happens. Today, you kind of came forward saying this is what we want, right? So I want to understand from Brad's point, because you did this first conversation initially on the document, what were the key points that were to be discussed, that we weren't in agreement? And for parentheses, to Art's point, we did receive this 2 days ago, so I have a million questions, and this is one of the main ones, is what did we say as a village when we came back to you as our attorney representing Al? Al, I wish it would have been you sitting there. I think that's another thing I would have loved to do. I think it's a personable thing. But, you know, since this happened attorney to attorney, what was the response from us?
No, I don't know that I can summarize in that clean. So maybe if I can.
Yeah.
You're going through it.
In this
section by
point,
section.
correct,
So maybe I can just address those
Yes.
sections as they come up.
please.
It's looking at the section. There's really not much of a major difference between what Tricia came up with. She added some of the language with regards to complying with the Code of Ethics, the International City and County Management Association, and the Miami-Dade Code of Ethics.
What does that mean?
Well, those guidelines that are established by those organizations, that Mr. Childress would have to comply with those guidelines. Actually,
Got it.
I think the only difference, just looking at them, is I added some language in there, acting in a professional and respectful manner, requiring a village manager, is just kind of general language that Ms. Sigmund kind of tailored down to just focusing on those standards were identified.
Got it.
The ICMA sets,
That's the big distinction between the two.
the ICMA rules that ethics are a pretty high bar, so all the good stuff is in there.
And let me, just to be sure, so in the package and the agenda, do we have your strike through copy as well? Okay. Give me just a second to open it. Which one?
While they're looking for it, the way that I saw it, that section 3, the changes that Patricia, sorry, that
You is
that-
fine.
that you had incorporated was more just kind of a truncated version of what had been included. And I think you incorporated the final proposed section that Brad had included, which was Code of Ethics, Section 19. So by including those things, it just seemed to be more of a truncated version of that.
Correct. And things that are objectively knowable, like
Right.
standards that are already written.
Yes.
Just for the record, so in the agenda package where it says draft village manager employment agreement, which is supposed to be the strike-through version that I think you have in your computer, and that Brad is making reference, is not in the agenda. So you don't, it's there, but it doesn't have the strike-through.
Yeah,
You can
it's
see it.
on there. I guess when it was converted to be put on the agenda, neither Ms. Sigmund's.
Is that the PDF?
guidelines-
Or is that the Word?
The agenda.
It's-
What
The
is-
Word versions are the ones you're going to see you're not going to see track changes on a PDF though. You're going to see track changes on the Word.
No, but I'm trying to see what people, like that was the package that was advertised for all of us to come forward and be prepared. And this one in particular, and it has a name, that's why, that's the one I
Look,
picked.
the email that I sent you, I sent.
I will.
I think it's these ones. Doc,
Yes.
those ones,
Okay.
you open it in
Open-
Word,
Okay,
you'll
so
get,
let me follow through with the document that has those let me just open it.
Is it
please.
when you, it would look more like this.
Yes.
This is the
Yeah.
version, this is Brad's version.
Thank you.
While we're looking for that, can I ask, I think Paul's on the line, right? I had asked Paul two questions. Paul, are you there?
I am.
All right, great. So I had asked you what the total difference was between what Al, your cost analysis between Al's and the previous manager was. What was that?
So
What
the
was the final
bases,
number on
yeah,
that?
the bases with the obvious fringes
Yep.
would be about $110,000 if you'll let me round it a little bit. I have an exact
So 100
analysis I can send you.
So
But-
we're talking about $110,000 more than what we were paying the previous manager, correct?
Well, there's a little bit of an adjustment there because his salary was adjusted at the budget process after he had already resigned. So
Mhm.
it technically was not his salary, it was the position we budgeted, if that makes sense.
Okay, so it's $110,000 difference,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And then the benefit portion, what exactly are the differences between what Al is asking and what we had done in the past?
Most managers have asked for some sort of health insurance premium. The last three did that. The only thing different in this one is the scale of the personal time off and the cap being at 1,000 hours. That being outlined was different.
All right, and health insurance, that was the same we were paying for
Yes,
family?
Chris
Okay.
had that, and so did Mario. At halfway through his tenure, he negotiated rather than a raise, he asked for those funds be used to offset his health insurance share. And internally, I think he saw some tax advantages where it would be more valuable to him. So that's very common.
Okay.
Rather than salary,
Okay.
it's a deferral of salary.
Anything else? Any other differences?
They're all different heights.
They're all different what?
Never mind.
Oh,
Bad
heights.
joke over Zoom.
Heights. Okay.
I got it, Paul.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Just while we were looking, or let me just make sure the question you asked, Paul, was just kind of what are the major differences between, okay, just wanted to make sure I missed the question.
Asked Paul was what the total cost difference was between what we were paying before to what where Al is requesting, and the difference he's saying is $110,000 difference.
You talking about salary or you're talking
Oh,
about
in total package.
total package?
Total package. So a lot of times when you see you see your advertised salary, but there are a lot of other costs associated with a manager that you don't see, right? Like retirement, benefits, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, the FRS.
That's
a big one.
That adds up, and so people don't see that, but it's there.
Yep.
Whether you see it or not.
Okay. Okay. All right, thanks, Art. And thank you, Paul. So just turning back very quickly to section 2, were there any other questions? I know you were kind of leading up to a question.
Yeah, no.
Sounded like it.
First, I want to make sure that what we have and everybody see and it's the same. So I can get access to the strike-through version that Brad put forward. I tried, it doesn't work. So I grab your email. I'm able to see now what you see. Not everybody can, but then I have it. And I think it's helpful to have Brad go through those sections and sort of clarify what was trying to be negotiated. So I'm okay on that point that he just mentioned, this last section.
On section 2, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so let's move on to section 3 then, salary. Is there any points we want to make on the salary request? They're the same in both versions, in both strike-through versions.
Just so your commission understands.
Yes.
I was given no guidance with regards to what the salary negotiation would be.
Right.
Discuss that.
Right, it was,
Something commission,
of course, it was to Patricia's point. I'm gonna do this all night, I'm sorry. To her point, it's within that range of what was included in the brochure that we put together, which is where I think that number comes from.
Yeah, so you've mentioned it was 250. You've heard some residents come forward was saying it was 150. So the range there was a range particular. It wasn't just set at 210, sorry. It was a range starting at 150, right?
Based upon experience and qualifications, exactly.
So it started at 150 all the way to 210 for us to contemplate.
I guess my point on that was that the commission would not have allowed an ad to go out saying that 210 was the top of the range if 210 was not available.
I'm sorry, go that again.
To me, what that reflects is a prior decision that the
Yeah.
commission came to, that range was something that this village could do.
Correct,
And that's why that range was set.
correct.
And so if that range wasn't set, what Al would be asking for is what he's had at his prior jobs, which is in the 230s.
So I think to that point of what the village can do has to do with the budget overall. Like I really would love to see what this means overall budget and to the administration, given that we still haven't closed what the next fiscal is going to look like. To your point of what we can do, I don't know. I think this is the way the vendor came forward saying this is what would be labeled to be considered competitive for the village, given the past in the village, the needs of the village, et cetera. So I think to your point, yes, that was the top line that was recommended. Can we afford it? That's part of the discussion we have to have tonight. On the salary perspective, I did have Sharon, and I did the same thing last time when we hired Albert on a temporary basis for interim. And I requested finance to share with us what the file looked like, because there is a salary portion and then there is a part, all these different added benefits that are part of the negotiation. I would like to show you if that's okay, Pamela, if I can give permission just to put forward so you can see how we arranged to the 176 originally. The salary from the previous manager was $100,000. In October, into the new fiscal, we approved a salary of 112. So now that we're talking about salary, you are requesting double basically of that, right? Almost double. I'm just talking about salary at this stage. Am I okay? Am I okay? Yes?
That's something doubled?
Yeah, right?
A manager of this experience and qualifications does not work for $110,000.
No,
a
I
year.
know. I'm saying if that's okay. So you're asking double, basically. We were at 110 in October. I'm saying that's what we budgeted for. The request is that we go up based on his experience to 210, right?
Well, the
As a
request
base.
is to do what the advertisement placed as the top of the range
Yes.
because that matches his expertise and qualifications.
Got it.
And then the benefits come along with that. Like the Florida retirement system charges what they charge.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
that goes like that. The insurance company charges what they charge.
Okay, so that's the point of salary, since we're going per section. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. So we're asking double of what we had already budgeted in October last year going into budget of next fiscal. That's all I'll say.
So, and just to follow up on what was asked of me, going section by section. No, that's all right. The only change in the section was that I proposed really relates back to the issue of term. So if you all recall, when you selected Mr. Childress as your permanent manager, the commission decided to leave him in his capacity as an interim until a contract was approved and executed by the agreement, by the commission, I'm sorry. The agreement that's being put forth by Patricia anticipates that his contract essentially would have begun on the date that you all appointed him to the permanent position, that you would give him special pay to make his salary full to the salary that you would approve on this contract, which would include, and Paul, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but which would include also payments of into his FRS payments for that additional salary to make his present salary up to whatever the contract salary amount. So what I had done is I had removed that language. But again, if you're approving the term, then the language changes that I proposed would not be appropriate.
So if I follow, you basically said, I want the contract to start based on how it's worked before. The contract should start when the contract is signed, not to go retroactive.
It was my understanding
Yeah.
that by the commission back on the day that
Yeah.
that you appointed Mr. Childress as the permanent manager. I think I made this request or made the
Yeah.
point to you all because I kind of anticipated this. Is that he remained in the status of an interim, was receiving his interim pay until a formal contract putting him in place. That's the permanent manager was agreed to. Obviously, the agreement that they're putting forth retroactively brings his salary back to his appointment, or to your select as the permanent manager. So just using numbers, if he was making a salary based on 176,000 and you approve his salary to be 210,000, then from, what was it, June 3rd to whenever we execute this agreement formally, the village will have to make him whole for the difference in the salary, whatever that is, between
Yeah.
pro rata of 176,000, 210,000. And again, I would turn to Paul, but I believe that would also require some additional contributions into his Florida retirement account.
Okay, got it.
So again, my modifications or my proposed modifications on subsection D in section 3 salary would no longer be necessary.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Can I say something in regards to salary real quick? So I wasn't here when y'all decided the whole range thing. But I'm fine with the range thing. And I said this here, before, and I'm going to say it again. One of the reasons that I was pushing for a seasoned managers, having sat up here as long as I have, I know that the city has lost hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars due to mismanagement and bad management. And the reason that we're trying to bring in somebody with his background and his caliber, and it's not just necessarily Al. If there was somebody else sitting in that chair, I would be saying the same thing, that had those kind of qualifications. I know for a fact that having that professionalism is going to save and it's going to gain the city money. One of the issues I think Al has is he doesn't like to pat himself on the back very often. But I see and I know the things that he's been doing behind the scenes. And, he's already gotten the city hundreds of thousands of dollars that we probably wouldn't have gotten if we wouldn't have had him at the helm. So is he worth $210,000? In my opinion? Him, not just him, but anybody else that would be sitting in that chair with those qualifications, I think they're well worth the $210,000. That's just my opinion on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I completely agree with Commissioner Gonzalez. 210 was what was advertised. This candidate is well worth 210. He's worth more. He's been paid more, but that's what's advertised. I see why they went to the top of the range. I agree with it. To suggest that it's double, it's not. We never paid him 112. That 112 was designed for a different manager than this manager. This manager came in at 176. He's asking for 210. It's plus benefits. It's more than fair. 210. I agree with it. And to argue about retroactive pay, I'm sure Paul can maybe correct my math, but back of napkin math for me says about $1,300 a paycheck additional. So I don't think we have to worry about another month of retroactive pay. If it was a year, I'd say that it's something that we talk about, but a month, it's not a huge impact to the village to go retroactive back to the day he was appointed.
Okay.
Maybe Paul wants
Points?
to correct my math though. My math is wrong.
Paul, do you want to correct Commissioner Huntington's math?
I'm trying to keep my words conserved. So he didn't say anything wrong. So
Okay,
I won't say anything.
that's fair. Okay, any,
Can I show this Excel that shows sort of the benefits and the salary base? Pamela, can I have access to that? Mhm. Oh.
You go down to the green there in the middle. Let's see.
Oh, so this should we do it?
Yeah, you can just select the
Okay.
window.
Okay. Get to that.
There you go.
Okay. All right.
Zoom in a little bit.
Oh. So that's what we had. So, so this is what we had budgeted for. So, just to correct you, Ryan, so I never said that we're paying him double. I'm just saying him as part of the negotiation, what we had budgeted for was 112 for salary, okay? We here are considering doubling that as a base salary of 210. So these are the numbers that we have. So in the past, just to give you an idea, so these are the salaries from Mario, for example. So you guys can see here, more or less what we used to pay. We had $100,000 of salary before. We had the FRS pension.
Sorry, Commissioner, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but as a point of order,
Yeah.
it is 6:05 and we have another,
Yeah,
uh,
true.
we have another meeting,
Yes.
scheduled for 6 o'clock. So
Yeah.
maybe we should put this on the table.
Yeah.
Open that meeting up and then continue this.
Well, that meeting,
Let the commissioner finish her.
Sorry, I meant to say it at 6 o'clock. I just missed 5 minutes.
So you have to adopt your tentative millage and it's advertised for 6 o'clock.
well, that should take all of 5 minutes.
So that is something that we need to do.
Yeah,
Commissioner, I do apologize for interrupting you.
I understand. Should I stop this and stop sharing or do we keep it? I don't know.
Well,
Understand?
question for the clerk is to begin the 6 o'clock, got to go out, and then we can go back into this one for the 5 o'clock, correct? I just want to make sure we don't lose. Okay. And then for point of, I guess, point of order or procedure, however we want to call it, Brad, can we temporarily adjourn?
You're going to take a recess of. the-
Perfect. Okay. Okay.
And it will be convened at the, after, immediately after the 6 o'clock special meeting.
Okay.
With it.
Do we need that by motion or can I do it unilaterally?
You need that by motion.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion that we put the 5 o'clock special agenda in recess so we can address the 6 o'clock. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so our 5 o'clock special agenda meeting is in temporary recess while we get ready to call to order our 6 o'clock on the millage. Do you need a minute, Madam Clerk? I'm not trying to rush you. I understand.
Let public know if there's anything on there, what they